Hello everyone and welcome to our Mrs. Purdy's online class. So today what we're going to be working on is drawing of some spring tulips here. So you can see we have these 3 tulips. Now in class what we have been studying and learning is about how looking at art and also finding out what elements of art have been used. So let me show you our poster here that we look at. So there are 7 elements of art here, and you see in every artwork you can find some or one or all of them. So you have color, line, shape, space is showing midground, foreground, midground, background. Form is when the shape becomes 3-dimensional. You see we have some shadows there. We also have texture, which is drawing how it feels, and then you also have value, which is shading from light to dark. So looking at this tulip drawing, we obviously have color, we have line, we have a 2D shape, which is just the flat shape, but then it becomes form when we add a little more shadows and shading in here. There's not too much texture. It's pretty smooth. I guess tulips are smooth, so I guess there is some texture there. We do have a little bit of value if you wanted to add that light to dark. So I'm going to kind of show you step-by-step drawing of how to do these flowers with your students, and we will go from there. Okay, hang on. Okay, so for these tulips, now according to what type of materials you have at home, you might just be using a pencil and drawing them on paper. If you have colored pencils, that's kind of what I've drawn mine with. We also have, I outlined mine with a Sharpie. That's an option too. If you have watercolors, you can use those. You can also, if you decide to color them in, if you don't want to color the whole background, you could cut them out and put on blue paper. There's a lot of different options you could go with this, but for now, I'm just going to show you. I'll be drawing with a Sharpie so you can see, but your students should draw with a pencil and just really help them to draw lightly so they understand. It begins to help them if they need to erase. There's not a harsh line. But what a lot of my students I start with is I will tell them, I'll give them some kind of dot to dots just to give them an idea of where to go and where, because sometimes they don't know how to start. So we're going to start with this tulip over here. And so, we ask them what type of shape is this, or a letter. To me it looks kind of like a U, so I will tell them, okay, we're going to draw a big U, or sometimes a lot of times I'll say, we're going to draw a big smiley face. So we're going to start first with our big U. Right, so you might want to tell your student, give them a dot from here, and you give them a dot over here, and then just tell them to do a big U and connect it, right? So then for our tulips, we're going to have from this one here, you're just going to curve to the bottom, and then this one over here, you're going to curve to the middle, right? So now your students can, if you need to, tell them, okay, I want you to draw from here down to here. You could give them a, start here. You could give them a dot where to go to. Again, same thing from here to here. That way, that just gives them a guide. Some students don't need that, but some students just want it to help. So again, we're going to add our middle, and then you can give another little one over here. If your students want to add a couple more, they can. That's up to them. We're going to do all of our flowers first, and then we'll go to our stems. So I'm going to start with this next one over on this side here. So again, you do your U. Okay, that one might be a little tilted. You might have your 3, might be straight. Again, it's completely up to you. Again, you give them the dot to dots. They connect the dots. And if at any time I'm moving too quickly, just pause the video and then let them catch up. So again, now our next one in the middle here. Now this one is kind of behind these two. Some students might not draw it that way, but showing it behind. So right now we have line, the element of line. The next one would be space. If one flower is in front of the other, that shows there's distance between there. So showing there's a, foreground and a midground. So you might have a flower, your U might come and connect down here, but then maybe it shows back up here, right? And then you can connect. If you don't want them to have the space, you don't have to worry about that part. Now, once you've got your 3 tulips drawn, then we get to add our stems. So you have your stems will come from one, another, and your second one might come here. There, so you have your 3 stems. Now you want to add maybe a couple leaves on here, and then there's some other kind of leaves or grasses that just kind of help frame out the picture. So you have leaves, 1, 2, 3, right? And give a couple of lines in here. Now if you wanted to stop right there, you can. I added just a couple little extra grasses around there. Okay, so now for your students, whatever it is that you're working on, now say if you are doing something with watercolor, they could watercolor the background. Just make sure you're using watercolor paper, because if you're just using like printer paper, just stick with drawing, because the paper will start to rip. It doesn't work as well. So just for regular paper, if you have crayons, if you have colored pencils, markers, whatever it is you want to color them in, your students can. So I'll just show you a couple examples of what I did. My colors I used here, I had so the darker purple, darker blue, a couple different greens, yellow, and then this pinkish purple color. I'm not giving you the technical names, but so for here I just started with a light purple, and then you just give it colored in completely. And make sure students color in one direction and not start here, then go here, then go here. It always just helps the picture look a little smoother. So we'll color it in. Okay, so you have a quick color-in job with the light purple. Maybe you want to bring in a little bit of the pinks in there. You could bring that in on the tops. So you're kind of blending some colors together. Now, if you have younger students and this is a little too much for them, just let them color in one color and then they can move on. But if you like to take it a little bit further, you can blend in some colors. So then to create that idea of form where there's actually a shadow, it doesn't look just so flat, you want to add, I'd come in with that darker blue color that I had right here. And then you'd think, okay, my shading would be underneath the bottom here, so maybe you have it darker down underneath here. And then maybe a little on this side. It's going to be darker in here. This flower is overlapping that one. And then here would be darker. getting a little bit of an idea of how there's form involved. You're creating something that looks a little more three-dimensional and not so flat, right? So for your other flowers, I'm not going to color them all in for sake of time, but you would do the same thing, color it all light pink. You could add a little bit of some purples in there. I'll zoom in on this one. A little bit of some purples in here, then you would create kind of the more shadows down here and in here with your purples, right? So we'll make those 3. And then, so for my leaves down here, again, I just used 3 different colors of green. I colored all of them in with the light green first. I'm just going to do one. Just going to do one for the sake of time. And so we got the light green in, then I bring in my yellow. And just on one side, maybe just add a little bit of some yellow that adds some highlights to it, maybe just on the top of this leaf here. And then I bring in my dark green for my shadows. So underneath our flower is going to be darker, right? Because there's flower is kind of shading it, and then you can just pick one side to come down and darken. And remember, coloring up and down, not side to side, probably on these will be the best. And then maybe on the bottom of your flower and around here, or your leaf, sorry, will be a little bit darker. So then you can continue on with all of your leaves that way, and then you'll have a wonderful picture with some beautiful spring tulips. And like I said, if your student wants to color the background all blue, or if they're doing watercolor, same thing, you can do that, all those same techniques. And again, if you have any questions, just email me, and I will be free to answer any questions you have. All right, until the next time, bye.